warming up.
We're live?
Oh,
Yep.
on the wall.
Okay, and Tom and Pat, can you hear me okay?
Good.
Okay, excellent. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming out this morning, and to Pat and Tom online. And I think many of you helped out with things throughout the year, and you're the people that make the club run. So appreciate your involvement. Just a reminder that DPRG meetings are free to attend. All are welcome. You don't have to be a member, but annual membership fees help cover our costs like pizza and the meeting space here in DMS, and subscriptions to Google Workspace and other things that help make the club run smoothly. So we're going to go over a summary of what happened in 2024, which is the usual thing to do at the beginning of one of these members meetings. Then we'll hold the elections of officers. We'll discuss proposed bylaw change and board change, and we may take a vote depending on the discussion. We may modify the proposal. We'll talk about that when we get there. Then we'll brainstorm club directions and goals. Hopefully by then, hopefully we'll be done with it by the time pizza arrives at noon. And then we'll have the smart camera discussion panel after that. Doug should be here about 11, he said. So last year at this meeting, I proposed a theme of a post-COVID reboot to rejuvenate, revitalize, reinvigorate, renew, all the good rewords, and we did with help from all of you folks. And hey, Ray, don't tell me you brought demo material. Yes. Excellent. So we reinstated, COVID seems like such a long time ago, and 2023 seems like such a long time ago, but we reinstated monthly in-person meetings here at the DMS, newly with remote attendee support. And we did frequent technical talks, not every month, but quite a lot of months. We changed the meeting time to 10 a.m. with a pizza lunch. We had a member poll to support that, to figure out what week and what time we wanted to meet. And video and pictures and slides for all of the events are on the club website under the news section. And so if you don't know where that is, if you go to dprg.org, and just right at the homepage is this news section, and that's where you go. If you go down there, you find all the monthly meeting and Airbnb videos. So I want to say thank you to Doug. I know he's not here, for keeping our website updated weekly, because that's it's an ongoing chore, and I think we'd all rather be building robots than maintaining the website. So appreciate his work on that. And he could use some help, honestly. So if anyone either here or online, or that's watching the recording afterwards, can offer a little bit of help to, help keep it. Basically, we don't have a backup for Doug. And so when he goes on vacation, or if anything should happen, we would be in a world of hurt. So talk to me or Doug if you think that might be something that you could help with. I envision it as a longer term engagement. Not just like, okay, 1 year and I'm done, but learning the website, learning how that WordPress site works is sort of like, we need to disseminate the knowledge Doug's the only one. I don't know anyone else who even has access to the site, much less the servers that it runs on. So, we need to, the club to stay healthy needs to, I think, build out in that area a bit. So, so I thought I'd go down the list of events that happened in the club last year. In March, Kabam Robotics presented their security robots. And by the way, if anyone wants to work in robotics, I'm forever getting contacts from headhunters looking for robot people to work on robotic jobs, both locally and more often remotely, but sometimes some mix of local and remote. So just let me know if you're interested, and I'll pass the contacts on to you as I get them. Because I can tell you, from 9 years working in robotics professionally, it is fun. In April, Brady Pamplin showed us how to design our own PCB and get 5 boards for $2 from JLC PCB. And I know Doug has done a few of them. And oh, you've done some too, David? Cool. In May, we had Roborama, had practice at the May meeting, and we had the contest on June 1. It was the first ever co-located Roborama in Dallas and Ottawa, Canada. And the DMS Media Group produced a Roborama video, which I would like. I don't know if should I play this? I guess I should play this because it's in the room, because I'm in the room. I think, and I'll turn my audio up. So maybe you can mute your audio.
Can you link the audio?
I don't know how to do that. Can you turn your mic? The DMS Media Group. Oh, okay, sorry. Mic off. What? What computer?
You just got a infinite echo. Yeah. Hello. I think it dies out after maybe 20 or 30.
What would a meeting be without technical issues? Nope, no echo. Yeah, you got it somewhere. There's no echo.
Yeah, I turned my speaker off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's the digital media group here at the Makerspace that edited it and filmed it.
Yeah, Mark plugged us into the media group, which just made it. It just makes me feel happy to see that. My computer has gone really slow.
Yeah, I didn't see the part of the video where they highlighted who won that.
Except you.
Someone I know collected almost all the prizes. It's a really good roboticist. See why?
That's why I don't enter contests or participate in the club. But, you know, just don't want to steal other
Embarrass
people's
yourself.
photos.
Again.
I can't even remember how to turn on half of my robots. But I'm working towards a goal. I look at the dust thickness and I think, oh.
I need to turn that off.
Yeah.
You good, Paul? Oh, you listening?
I'm trying to get presenting again, but my computer has bogged down. There we go. It just woke up.
Well,
Oh, wow, yeah, it's really thinking hard.
Seems to take up all the time.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's anything else I can kill.
Yeah, that's fun. So my car almost, I'd like to say Tesla
Running a little
made it all the way here,
sluggish.
but Valwood Parkway was gonna miss that. It would have rerouted that construction. So something from Plano, no intervention.
I got, we're getting there.
They would usually I give it some kind of push.
Someone dipped Paul's laptop in molasses, it appears, so.
Just push the accelerator over.
I don't know why Chrome just goes,
I mean, it's
just
amazing.
bogs us down sometimes.
And the other thing,
For
I
no
think
good
is
reason.
a little bit of a unclenching curve as you're riding in the car. Or
right.
self-driving. I think it probably takes maybe
Got it.
50 hours or 100 hours. And then
Yeah,
now
I don't
I'm
have
not
the,
clenched, although I did let it take an exit into like
What's that,
concrete.
Paul?
halfway on 35.
the
It took
present,
it a little hot. I said, okay,
Yeah.
go for it, we'll do it. But I would have,
don't have the presentation now. Button.
but you can die like that.
Mm.
Self-driving island.
Pardon?
Wait, can you on the highway? Seems like you can't dial it
Oh, I
down
see
now.
you
with the
do,
full
too.
self-driving.
It's just-
It's funny, because what's
You
on
might have a
TV is
point.
different from what I see on
really hate
the,
the changes on the layout.
on the, yeah, that's what I'm seeing on the TV.
And I think there's
There
different
you go.
settings, it's like,
Oh,
chill,
right, yeah.
normal, and in a hurry.
Okay.
And I haven't tried in a hurry. See what that means?
Okay, and we got audio back and everything.
There's, Pat, thumbs up?
Kind of
Okay,
working.
good.
Yep,
Um,
yep, we're good.
All right,
An exit
so,
that I thought was too hot. The stupid thing there is I disengaged.
Okay.
Okay.
thank you guys for watching that video. Sorry for the delay in recovering, but that one just makes me feel happy because like there's so many great shots of like Doug smiling and Jack speaking eagerly and Scott like looking to Mark looking skyward. It's just like so many great people shots in that video. It's just really superb. Then in June, we had what I think is one of our two best, three best maybe, tech talks, AI for cone finding from Bob Cook, who's the reigning Robo-Magellan champion. And he showed us how he trained his on-robot AI to find traffic cones in the outdoor contest Robo-Magellan. And half a dozen members, I know Doug's been experimenting with it, Doug and Tom and Ray and others been experimenting with cone recognition and smart cameras. And that was sort of partly what brought about the idea of let's do a smart camera panel. Our challenge here is to use AI in a live contest. No one's actually done that yet. So we'll see. But anyway, that was a great talk, and it's on the website if you want to look at it. July, we had the Moon Day exhibit. Doug, Mike, Harold, Mark, and Eric, and John manned the DPRG booth at the Moon Day exhibit at the Frontiers of Flight Museum. So, hey, Doug, welcome.
I just did a Pinewood Derby with my grandson.
Good on you. So, yeah, we're just in time to give Doug and the other, Mark and the other presenters a round of applause for Moon Day exhibit. Thank you, guys. That's one of our things is to do outreach. It's in one of our charters.
It's a really fun event.
Yeah. Oh, good, good. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it, and I hope we'll do it again this year. Another great talk in August was Intro to 3D CAD. Helped me enormously. Doug showed us how to do 3D CAD design using Design Spark, and then John Hylands showed us how to do 3D CAD design using Onshape. I've taken up Onshape, and it's just been a real blessing for me. It's really helped. And then Doug reviewed hey, welcome. Doug reviewed the state of 3D printers, the best, the older, but still good, and what makes them more modern or less modern. So that was a really, for me personally, a tremendously helpful talk. Then we continued the streak in September with Scott showing us how to use JTAG debug, and Mike showing us the cheapest ROS2 platform you can imagine on a Raspberry Pi 02W. So like just some really top-notch technical talks, one after the other there. So that was great. Love that. In November, we had RoboColumbus with a dozen club members, half a dozen robots doing battle with Steve's field. The field won in some cases and lost in others. We saw the first RoboColumbus perfect score ever at Steve's place. But I need to give Scott's robot a special mention for launching itself in this bottom picture in a skyward in an attempt to fly.
I think it's fair you put that out in video, or is that a still?
No, it's clipped out.
Is it,
Yeah.
Good job, though.
Yeah. I mean, it hit the sewer lid and it like took off. It was great.
I thought the best part was it came back down and they just kept
Yeah, it came back down and carried on. That was amazing. That is one heck of a robot. We almost had a co-located contest with Dallas and Ottawa, Canada, but the robot gods did not smile upon our Canadian friends, and their robots weren't ready. It didn't make sense to have a contest, but it was a great contest and good turnout, fun day. Then in December, we had the holiday robot power lunch, where we had a dozen members at a local restaurant. I met some people whose names I'd only ever seen written down somewhere. Members from like long ago. So anyway, the consensus there was, let's do that more often. And so I think we'll try and do that quarterly. So maybe do another one late March, perhaps early April. We'll see. And RB&V continued with solid participation. Tuesday nights online, we get 12 to 20 people for 2 or 3 hours from all over the country. It's like almost every week, and we typically see 50 to 100 YouTube views per meeting. Now, it's still a little unclear to me how many of those are like robots that are crawling the web and seeing stuff, but I do know that at least some of them are real people. Because like I went to the Bay Area Robot Club meeting, Homebrew Robotics Club one time, and everyone said, "Oh, you guys are the ones that do those RB&V videos," and they were all like, "Oh yeah," and we watch them. And it was like, wow. So there is some reasonable amount of dissemination to other roboticists in the country and maybe overseas. I don't know. Canada doesn't really count as overseas. So social events dominated the club activity, but we made some substantial infrastructure improvements. The comms team, especially, I want to call out, was chartered at the last annual meeting to improve communication channels in the club, because half the people in the club weren't getting emails. And anyway, I want to say huge thanks to Harold, Steve, Raj, and Kareem, who selected Google Groups for email distribution and archival. It's currently got 83 subscribers. Most have confirmed that they actually receive the emails. If you or anyone watching this isn't receiving the emails, please drop me a line, president@dprg.org, and we'll get you hooked up with instructions on how to do that. But what it's given us is emails that we can put images in, and rich text and hyperlinks, some of which we didn't used to be able to do. So big improvement in my mind brings email into the 2020s. And then the comms team selected Discord for a chat server, and there's a ton of technical and organization discussion goes on there. I've got an invitation link here, so if anyone watching gets these slides, they'll be posted on the web sometime in a day or two. And just click on that link. It'll be good for about a week. So anyway, I think the comms team was a bang-up success. So let's give them a hand too, because they put in a lot of work, and I think it was a huge success. One thing we did that's sort of in the background, but not that visible to members, is the board authorized us to get a subscription to Google Workspace, which gave us meeting recordings. That gives us a couple of things. Gives us a terabyte of storage, which we don't really use. I'm not sure if we could use that in some way that would benefit members. But anyway, the big thing that gave us that we do use is meeting recordings with transcription, which we're using right now. So much better than the unreliable OBS that only certain people and certain laptops were able to run. And in combination with LM Notebook, which I feed the transcript into, it enables sensible AI-generated meeting summaries, and we started posting them both to the email list and putting them as chapters in the YouTube video. So nowadays, if you go off of the website into the YouTube DPRG clips and pull up an Airbnb video, or a monthly meeting video, you're going to find timestamps, and they won't always be exactly accurate because there's like 5-minute timestamps in the transcript, so it just kind of estimates what time a particular section started. But it's a way that if you hear something like, wow, that was really cool, like for example, Bruce was talking at the last Airbnb about how to get Ada to generate code for you, like by typing and just telling it, make this, do this. And he showed the conversion, showed bringing in a sensor algorithm from an Arduino environment, putting it into a ROS node without typing anything. And so anyway, you can just to say that's an example of, if you see the meeting notes in the email that goes out to DPRG list, you can go to the YouTube channel and you'll find chapter timestamps that let you jump straight to that section of the meeting, give or take a little bit. So I hope that will be useful to our subscribers, to the members.
Those AI summaries were also posted on the website.
Yes.
So if that's easier for you than looking through your emails.
Thank you, Doug.
Because you can do a search. You can do a search, a Google search, and it should pop up.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you got, 75% chance. So I mean, it's pretty good.
Better than nothing.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, the goal of all of that is to make a lot of Airbnb and monthly meeting content easily consumable by those who weren't there. Because it always kind of irked me that we would have these great Airbnb meetings with like really great technical content, really new stuff that I didn't know even existed. And it's just lost. No one knew what meeting it was discussed at. And
Sometime in 2023.
yeah, and you got to watch like Airbnb 50 meetings times 2 hours of Airbnb to try and find it. Hopefully this makes it easier to. So anyway, that's
Again, chat records luckily have been kept from the beginning.
yeah.
So you can do a Google search if you know like who talked and what they were talking about. And again, you've got a good chance
Okay.
because it's published on the website.
Okay.
I'm just
Okay.
saying.
So Google
you
like
kind of
finds the
fall back
chat.
position if you don't.
So
On those early ones.
Well, the AIs ought to be able to do that. Plus, you can have the AI look for it and
That's
find
true.
it.
That's
Maybe
quite
convert
hard.
it into maybe a rap theme for whatever talk is being given or something, or like teddy bears, if you don't like to look at the person. So, I mean, I think all of the future is there.
Yeah, I will say that, Google with their AI prompts on Google search, surprisingly good at finding. stuff.
really, and are you talking about searching from within the DPRG website or just like broadly from google.com?
The more specific you can be, I'm sure the easier it is. So I would say who it is, what they talked about, and probably DPRG chat and chat list. And those terms would probably get you there.
Okay. Huh. Never tried
I
doing
mean,
that.
again, it's not perfect, Paul.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Nothing is.
what we're doing now is better.
So anyway, that was a new thing that we've just started. The other thing, the number of paid up DPRG members was 38 when I checked it a couple of days ago, up from 27 a year ago. So thank you to everyone who showed you.
Actually 39 now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So thank you to everyone who showed your commitment to the club's activities by renewing. It's a measure of club health. It helps pay the pizza and DMS dues and software or online system subscriptions and a whole bunch of things that really keeps the club moving along. So thank you for that. The Facebook account got reactivated and it's getting engagement. I pull, whenever a picture that seems worthwhile or interesting or a video comes across somewhere from DPRG, usually I'll put it up on the Facebook page, and we're starting to get some likes. We've got like 750 Facebook followers. So it's going to turn up it does turn up in some feeds, and I look every now and then at the engagement stats, and we're getting engagement. Not that it's necessarily producing like meeting attendance, that kind of thing, but it's just like a funnel, right? It's the top end of the funnel, and all the fish are swirling around up there, and then some of them come down into the funnel, and
I can share a story with you about how it disseminates.
yeah.
I don't know who posted it on the Facebook page. There's a picture of me, Master Robot Builder.
Yes.
So now a bunch of people I work with call me Master.
Oh, is that right? Excellent. I hope that's okay. I posted it without your permission.
It's like, yes, man. It's like, what? He said that as a yes man, because I told him to do something. Yes, Minister. And I said, what the hell is that about? Because you didn't see your Facebook posting? He thought I put it up there.
Yeah, so stuff like that that's like really cool that goes on in the club. It sort of like helps promote DPRG to, because there's some good stuff there's a lot of good stuff that goes on in this club, and helps promote us to, the community at large, and hopefully connect us with more people. We got new business cards. It's just like, okay, whatever. So here's a summary. So here's a summary of our channels that we've gotten, and this is just partly to say, be aware that there's all these ways you can connect to DPRG, but it's also basically why we need an IT officer on the board. So we got the monthly meetings in person plus remote, and Mark is very grateful to him for being the remote ambassador today and running the camera, and with tech talks and competitions. We got Airbnb video calls, which are 100% technical discussion every Tuesday, and that's where we use DPRG's Google Workspace to use the Meet like pro level subscription that lets us record stuff. We got Discord, which is an active chat server. It's mostly technical, a few other topics. We got the email list, which is mostly notices, a little bit of discussion, sometimes some abuse, but that's all in good fun. Let's see. Okay, that was for anyone watching this, that was a joking reference to some horseplay on the email list. The website, which is really like a bulletin board of our upcoming events, our past event recordings and pictures, and the club information and history. It's always available and 100% reliable in this sense that if it's up there, you can count on it. It's going to happen, or it did happen, or it's carefully curated by our webmaster Doug, as opposed to things that might pop up on Discord or email, which can get changed in mid-flight or whatever. So anyway, that's the go-to place for information about the club. We've got our YouTube DPRG Clips channel, which gets Airbnb and meeting videos and sometimes other special events. We've got the Facebook page, and meetup.com, where we should advertise meetings. I've not been very good about remembering to do that, but funnily enough, I advertised this meeting and got a contact from someone almost right away who said they're going to come. So anyway, those are our channels, and it's a lot of online systems that need maintenance. So, any thoughts, comments on discussion on the last year activity before we go?
I throw my hat in for the IT officer.
Yes, by all means. I'm delighted. Thank you, Eric. If the proposal passes that it becomes a board position, we will have a special election to elect an officer for that position.
Like he can help out and start picking up some ideas.
Yeah. Oh, like I said before, this is a club run by the members, and without the members helping out in various ways, would be nothing. So thank you to everyone that helps out. Any other?
Pat mentioned that Vancouver Robotics Club watched the Airbnb videos as well. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Canada watches the videos.
Wow. Wow. Well, welcome to anybody out in YouTube land who's watching our videos and our monthly meetings. We welcome you to the DPRG. Any other comments, thoughts? Okay, so I have to say, as my closing statement as president for 2024, I'm just super happy with the way the Renew, Rejuvenate, Recover, Reboot worked out in 2024, and look forward to doing more of the same in 2025. And we'll have a brainstorming session right after the elections and the bylaws discussion to to discuss, to brainstorm things that we want in 2025. Okay, so moving on to the officer candidates, myself for president, Carl for vice, same board as last year, Carl for vice president, Doug's offered to be secretary again, thank you. Steve's been offered to be treasurer again, thank you, Steve. And John's willing to be librarian again, thank you, John. So let's hold the election. I just want to say this is Paul and Carl's last term per the bylaws. There's a two-term limit in the bylaws. So you can look at this two ways. You can say, if you see Paul coming towards you, turn and walk the other way because he might be going to ask you. or you can think, well, you know, it's an opportunity to contribute next year. So anyway, just to let you know, that's the situation.
Maybe you could use your middle initial.
Become someone different, maybe. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ron to run the election with in-person, or did you already do that?
Yeah, actually, yeah, we've sort of tried to streamline this so I don't take up a lot of time. So anyway, we're good to go as far as everyone in the room has voted, and we've had good turnout for people using Paul's form, the Google form, which is pretty slick, that gave me everything except no automation on verifying members, which I did. And I think I don't know if we have anybody online there that is a member that wants to vote, but
let's see, let's just ask, is Tom, Pat, or anyone else online?
Yeah, David's online as well.
David's online. Do you guys want to vote at the meeting?
I voted twice. I voted by email and I voted on your form.
oh, okay.
Okay, so Pat voted. Tom?
My motto is vote early, vote often.
Tom, did you vote?
Yep.
Tom's not there.
Okay.
Yes, I also voted online, but but I wasn't showing up on the membership list, so I renewed my membership. So
Is that David?
Yeah, David, yeah.
yeah,
David, you're on the, I fixed that before I came here.
Okay.
okay.
This meeting,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
are on the list.
Is that
Okay.
David Steele?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, we had a conversation. He's good. I got it.
Okay, you're good, David.
So anyway,
All right.
the quorum was 13 votes, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And we have 21
Ooh.
all
Yay.
voting for the panel. Nobody had anything to say. So there you go, all done.
Yay.
Good.
Thank you, Ron.
All right. Thank you, Paul. You did more work than I did.
Okay, and we just had a new person into the room. Are you Nadine?
Yes. I
Hi, welcome.
accidentally got sucked in with the tour, so.
Oh, excellent,
They'll do
excellent.
that. They'll do that.
Well, that's worth doing too. So you know more about Makerspace, and yeah, we love the Makerspace. They host us here, and got a long history with the Makerspace. So Nadine contacted me through meetup.com. So that's one of the other things DPRG does, is maintain a meetup.com presence and advertise our meetings. And here she is. I don't know if you like to introduce yourself and your interest in robotics, Nadine.
Hi, I'm Nadine. I am a software engineer. I really don't have a lot of experience with robotics, but one of my goals, I guess, for this year is to learn a lot more about hardware. I built a robot in 7th grade, like with Legos and stuff, like very basic stuff. I've built like a lot of like computer things. So I think now what I want to do with robotics is kind of meld my knowledge with like software engineering and programming and being able to bring that like to something physical.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Welcome. Okay, so we held the election. So now I want to move on to, and the new board is officially elected. So now I'm going to move on to the proposed bylaw change. So currently the bylaws mandate that the DPRG board, because the DPRG is a corporation, it's a nonprofit corporation chartered with the Texas Secretary of State and organized as a 501c3. and it has a set of bylaws that govern its operation. It mandates that there are 5 board members, of which one is the librarian. The librarian's duties are stated to be to maintain and safeguard the corporate library of software, hardware, and media components, to maintain records of materials loaned to members, and to enforce lending policies set by the board. And I feel that much of that is, there's still some work there in terms of maintaining the hardware that we've got. We've got like competition stuff, cones, and the arena that Scott built for 6CAN, and so there's some stuff there, but it's these days we almost don't lend stuff. I think Mark's got a robot, and I've got a club laptop that I'm trying to resuscitate. That's about it. So it's not the thing that it used to be back in the old days. Many of us here remember back in the 90s when you didn't get data books. Everything wasn't online, and you couldn't get data books, and so the club maintained a set of them that you could borrow, and a set of specialized tools that you could borrow. And these days, so much is just available.
At one time, they had their own workspace, sort of like a mini makerspace.
Yeah, yeah.
So they had drill presses,
Yeah.
blades,
Yeah.
punches. Some actual machine type tools, and that's all. It's
been disseminated, yeah,
and eliminated, and we must have had 2 racks of old equipment like oscilloscopes and stuff. Because I mean, at the time, that's where people didn't have them. You went to the club and used theirs.
Right.
But that's no longer there.
Right. This was pre everything getting from China getting so cheap that you could just. So the board feels that librarian role, as described here, is much smaller than it used to be. Much less central to the value that the club offers to its members. And then on the other side, what we have is all of those IT systems that I just went through, all of the online systems. There's about 9 of them, maybe a dozen, and that it's really central to what the club offers its members now in terms of Airbnb, meetings, website, whole variety of things. And so we propose that there be an IT officer position, board position created that replaces librarian. And the IT officer would implement policies and procedures for online systems as directed by the board, would maintain a list of all online systems, would authorize 2 admins for each system. That's something we don't currently have. I think we have some systems that are single point, where someone is a single point of failure, and the IT officer may not have admin privilege for all systems, or they may. That's just noting that they don't necessarily want or need all of that, but it would depend on circumstances as to whether they did or not. But they're responsible for authorizing people who do. So it's envisioned not as a job where it's one person does everything IT related in the club, but more that I think of it like a CIO position. So a lot of companies these days have a CEO, a COO, a CFO for finance, and a CIO for information systems. So IT officer was the name we ended up calling it, but I think of it in terms of sitting in the C-suite if we were a corporation, and making sure that everything IT that should happen does happen, and getting whatever people need to do things to do that. So and to ensure that system maintenance is performed. I don't think we keep backup lists of users or there's content maintenance for some of these systems. There may be backups for subscription, and there are some subscriptions. So the job of librarian doesn't vanish. The DPRG still has hardware assets, but we've got a lot of other jobs that people just do, like organizing competitions, organizing outreach, organizing greeting business cards. But just that it shouldn't be a board position. So I want to throw it open to discussion, questions about whether the proposal, you like the proposal.
Yeah, man.
I think it makes sense, but I guess my only counterpoint would be, how does that not overlap with the secretary functions? I mean, you're talking about maintaining user list. Wouldn't that be a secretary function? So I just would be concerned that there may be some overlap or,
I mean, are we going to run this as the secretary backup essentially?
So the secretary per the let me just find that.
Sometimes the secretary is like the social side of things, and the IT will be the back side, the maintenance, the hardware side.
So the roles of the secretary, as stated in the, let me see if I can zoom in here, stated in the bylaws. It's a great question, Scott. But the roles of the secretary are really quite different. So they're to record meeting minutes, handle corporation correspondence, which Doug does, things like submitting the 501c3 certification every year, and Doug can say much more.
Some of the charitable, some of the people, because work allows them to count their volunteer hours to give money to an organization, but they usually have some system that they go through. Otherwise, like for example, Microsoft uses beneficiary or something like that, and so you have to maintain a standing with them so that people who are Microsoft employees who want to donate volunteer hours to the club can get their money, can do that. Otherwise, you just don't, they submit it, but they don't submit it to Microsoft. They submit it to this other organization. So there's things like that. And I look at this like they're getting things like Paul said, there's Meetup, there's Facebook, there's
Discord,
that was the word I was looking
YouTube,
for. YouTube,
email.
Yeah,
I mean, I just was playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
There may be some overlap there,
And I'm
but
saying is
overall, I would agree with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I was saying somebody being there saying, well, yep, everything's working fine on YouTube, everything's working fine on Discord, everything's working fine on Facebook, we're doing what we want to do. For example, in the case I'm acting as the web server, a webmaster, the person doesn't have to necessarily be a webmaster, but he needs to make sure, if he has some suggestions on the website, if there's if I get sick, hit by a car, that there's a backup for me.
And,
So it's, I don't think you want to think of it as he's going to have to maintain, he's not got to be the guy that maintains all those systems. He's just got to make sure that there's people in place for those systems to run. I think that's what
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And whereas by contrast, to address your question, the secretary is responsible for the handling the correspondence, which Doug was just speaking to, safekeeping of legal documents, contracts, financial reports, making them available for inspection. So it's really a secretary is a different job than an IT officer.
And misleading title.
Well, we could think of a good one.
Well,
That's the best y'all can come up with.
You're system honcho, or what do you
Yeah,
want to call it?
yeah. Any other discussion on the proposal? Okay, so So I've got a proposed bylaw change here that the board came up with to replace the bit in the 2.2.5 in the bylaws where it describes the duty of the librarian, which I just went through in the bullets, with the duties of an IT officer to implement policies and procedures for online systems as directed by the board and so forth that I just went through. And then also in section 3.1 where it lists the elected officers to replace librarian with IT officer. So I'm sort of sensing general assent to this.
Are we limiting the librarian or?
So librarian would no longer be a board position, is really what this means. We still need someone to look after the hardware, and I hope that John would be willing to continue in the librarian role. I haven't actually talked to him about this, so I'm putting you on the spot here, John.
Yeah.
But librarian would become sort of like one of those many things that get done in the club that isn't associated with a board member role, like
Or if like if you're at noonday, you helping out with the stuff.
yeah, right.
Now would be a good time to ask for a raise.
I guess that means
Can I ask for attention?
that means he wouldn't have to attend board meetings. So there's a maybe.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's true, and the IT officer would, so. So let's see, is there any further discussion on this? If not, I'd like to ask for a motion to vote for
May
the,
I make a suggestion?
yes,
Let's give people a few minutes to go up to the screen and read it.
Sure.
And
Great
take a
idea.
look and
Yeah.
Make sure they understand what they're voting on. And
yeah,
I think it's pretty straightforward, but
Mhm.
Yeah.
if you haven't seen
That's-
this, and I know I wouldn't want to just vote for something that, oh, that sounds okay. But,
yeah,
you know,
fair enough.
Go up, look
Fair enough.
at it, and, maybe in 3 or 4 minutes, we come back
Yeah,
and.
let's do that.
Decide whether we
Since I'm the
want
one
to-
that's put my head in, so just let you know, so I did secretary for 2 years and vice president 1 year.
Yeah.
So I've been involved
You've done your
well,
time.
like 12, 15 years now.
Yeah, and I appreciate your long-term involvement, Eric. But this is being a board position, or proposed board position. So anyway, if anyone wants to come up to the screen and read the wording of what's proposed, please feel free at this point. And we'll have, then I'll ask for a motion to change the bylaws as.
Come on, guys, let's go read it. Let's read it. If you haven't read it, and I know you can't see it, because I can't see it. So just come on up, take a quick gander at it, make sure.
I wrote it based on, well, actually, the board, in the board meeting, we kind of formulated it, pretty much got the wording. In fact, I don't know if I even changed the wording at all after we approved it in the board meeting. So I don't think I did, so.
You didn't use AI to clean up now. No AI involved.
No AI was involved here.
No.
It's not passage about Paul now gonna be the dictator.
I totally do not want to be a dictator.
I'll just let you subject.
I'd say his sentence is almost up, so.
If you're thinking about this, you definitely need to be up there and read that.
No, I count on support from a lot of the club members for all kinds of stuff, because like last year I was out of.
I'm not a real organization guy, so I didn't even have business probably even voicing an opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an anarchist.
Okay, so this is this is a proposal to change the bylaws, and as such, it can only be voted on by members in good standing. So I think there's probably 4 or 5 of us here who are paid up. So, that's basically what it amounts to. And it's fair enough, because like, if you paid to be a member of the board, of the DPRG, you should get a say in how it runs, in what it does, in, you know, any changes that are made to it. If you didn't, if you're not like committed enough to DPRG to, you know, become a member, then you shouldn't have a say in it, how it runs. That's fair enough, right? Okay, so let's see, can I have a motion to approve the bylaw change as, okay,
I will make the motion to approve your proposal that the librarian position be replaced by an IT officer
On the
as a board
board,
position.
on the board.
On the board, and at the librarian still.
There'll still be a librarian.
No escape, John.
Kick him out.
okay, and can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, second. And let's see, members, let's have just a show of hands. Members, 3,
Aye or
4,
nay?
5, 6, 7, 8. 8 members approved, so,
Tom and Pat put their hands up as well.
oh, Pat, oh, Tom and Pat,
I
so
can't see
10.
David's camera, but I'm sure
Well,
he's hand up.
well, we'll, okay, so we don't quite have quorum, so we are going to,
Wait a minute, did you vote? You count your.
oh, I didn't count myself, so it's 11.
Yeah.
We still almost don't quite have quorum.
Yeah, Tom, Pat, and.
So, I'll tell you what, Mr. Elections Officer, we're going to have another online election to gather that last couple of votes to make this all, you know, proper and legal and stuff. So, how about I give you your pad and pencil, and you can, and how about you record those?
Well, I'll just write you.
Okay, those who, on a paper
Unless
napkin?
people want to write down, that saves me time. Anybody, yeah.
Or would you rather just, you know, I can send out a Google form.
I would say send it out because.
Yeah, there you go.
You know,
Okay.
Steve, a couple people that are entrenched in the air right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aren't
Yeah.
really
Good
here.
point.
What do we
Do
got?
I need to have my form minion do that?
Yeah, I'll do that for you, and then I turn the form ownership over to Ron, so I no longer have visibility to the results. So you can vote how you want. I won't see it. Is there anyone here who will not? So the voting period per the bylaws will run for 2 weeks. Is there anyone here who will not get the email and be able to vote? Who'd like to vote here?
Anybody that.
Because I'll give you a piece of paper and a pen, and you
Yeah,
can
and I can
write
do
it down,
that.
give it to Ron, and then he can fold it in with the online results.
Yeah, because we had a couple people didn't get on the Google Forms for.
Right,
Whatever.
right.
Or whatever reason.
Yeah.
Does that, doesn't matter.
Anyone here?
Anyone that doesn't want to do that.
Okay.
So it was sent to like all our emails.
Yes, did you receive it?
I'll double check.
It went to DPRG list. If you didn't, let me know later on, and we'll troubleshoot that. I know we did, like last month, or last meeting, we had to look at your membership.
Another reminder for the Saturday 10 a.m.
Yeah, and if you look in through that, there's a link to the form. Okay, then we'll do it by form. But it sounds like we've got broad buy-in for this, so that's great. Thank you very much, everyone. We're you know, when you have a club that's 40 years old, you have some crop that comes along for a while, and you know, you try and clean it out every now and then and keep things modern. Okay, so brainstorming. What do we want from DPRG in 2025? And so this is open forum. I put down some kind of like thoughts to start discussion. You know, we can talk about tech talk topics and volunteers for presenting tech talks, nominating someone else.
I will do a talk on KiCad.
On
KiCad.
Kika, oh, wonderful.
So it'll be I don't know what KiCad is to, I put my board into JCL lab. So that type of thing. But what I want to do is there's a KiCad is a little weird, but if you know the right way to go through the steps, it's a breeze. If you don't know the right way, you're just kind of like wandering in the wilderness and things don't work, you don't know why. But it's so easy once you know how. It's worth a talk.
That would be fantastic. I personally would love that, Doug. Thank you.
It's just PCD.
And just if it's helpful to look at the list of ideas from last year. So we did this was like, okay, let me hide some of these, but we did some of these AI basic AI course, perhaps assumption, maybe.
Okay, there's another, I got one then. I would like to see somebody go through a AI pipeline from gathering pictures to putting a model on one of the cameras we're going to talk about today. Or not necessarily the cameras, but that's probably how we would use it the most.
Yeah. Interesting. That would be good.
Okay, so
So is this taking it a level deeper than Bob Cook's talk?
yeah, I'm saying, ideally even going to the point of having a Jupyter notebook that people could use to do it.
Well, I'd like to see, Bob's talk kind of ended with the data collection and the model training. I haven't seen anybody show how to integrate that into a robot program.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We've seen,
yeah.
like Bob's was.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
So that, to me, that's the next step along that evolution is how do you integrate this? Once you've collected these images and trained the model, you got to use it. How do you leverage it? I mean, that's what I'm stuck on right now.
Yeah.
So you're talking about, I mean, if the AI identifies a code where it is within the field of view, that sort of thing?
Well, what's the API for that?
Oh, okay.
okay.
How do you use the data?
Yeah, how do you, okay, now you got this camera recognizing cones.
Right.
How do you leverage it? How do you roll it into your robot?
Once you have the model in the camera.
Yeah, I mean,
Either serial or spy or.
right.
But anyway, I think there is.
Extends the next one.
How do you query,
Right.
the
So,
Okay.
programmatic?
okay.
Yeah, and I would go even further. I would say, start again with gathering the data. So you can go through the ideas of that, going through TensorFlow. Okay. So then the last part after TensorFlow generally is getting your TensorFlow results into the right format for whatever camera you're using. Like in the case of your camera that you're using, it's OpenVNU. Okay. If it's a Raspberry Pi, it's Halo. It's a Halo compiler. But there's a whole bunch of different steps. So now I've got a TensorFlow model. I got weights. I got real weights. Now what do I do with them? And I think that's the point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have another suggestion outside of a demonstration, but I'd love to see us bring back sumo contests, like mini sumos. We used to get a lot of really good participation in it. It's an excellent entry point because the technical challenges aren't so vast.
Mm-hmm.
And it's entertaining. And there's a lot of chance to who's winning and who's it's not just about the skill of the robot. It's more, sometimes it's just luck of the draw. So, I mean, that's why I would love to see that come back, because like I said, we had lots of good participation. And it's an easy entry point for somebody. I mean, that's where I started, because you don't really need odometry. You know, you're kind of putting together, just like she was saying, your software and your mechanical skills, and building something that does something physical, even though it's entertaining, but it's not hugely a technical challenge.
Who else would be interested in fielding a robot if we like brought that into Roborama?
I would.
Well, there you go.
Okay, okay.
Scott, of course.
And one of our friends in ceramics has a little.
So what do you think
Sumo
about adding that to the Roborama contest thing?
So was that mini sumo, what was
May?
the ring size for that?
Yeah.
Like 33 and
Oh, no,
It depends on what you mean by sumo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
3 to 4.
So
Sumo is one of those, that's really a pit. I mean, you get into sumo, there's guys who, are doing things like using air suction pumps to lower the thing down onto the ground. I mean,
Well, but
I'm just saying
it's, I think you can make it as complicated as you want to, and that's, to me, that's kind of the attraction. It can be as simple or as complicated as you can come up with. And there's so many different strategies of how you approach the challenge of pushing someone else out of the ring.
As long as it's not one of these chocolate.
Well, I mean, there's
Spiral the thing or back.
we used to have a whole set of rules about, you
I'm
can't,
just saying.
that you
do
can't
that.
destruction,
Right.
you can't be offensive
Right.
and things like that.
Because you get on.
So, I mean, the rules are already written. We've already,
Yeah.
I haven't seen us run a mini sumo.
And unless we
contest
don't
and-
do something like that, because, you get the
I got some online
problem
ones.
with these remote control.
I have some
things.
online questions.
Well, it's still
That's
autonomous.
just
It's still autonomous.
Yeah, and so really that could be done with like the banner. You could probably print a mini sumo banner that's 3 by 3.
Don't we
or
have
whatever
one
it is.
already?
We have a ring already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do have.
I mean, I'll be happy to either refurbish or build a ring.
So just say for
I'm looking at Doug strongly because he's like our spiritual leader of competitions.
Okay. I would say I'd be for it if we limited the rules to be simple sumos.
Right.
Otherwise, I mean, like I said, this is a thing that if you look at competition sumos, I mean,
Some of them.
there's the guys out there that are handcrafting these things that, cost thousands of bucks, and you're saying thousands of bucks for a sumo? Yeah, thousands of bucks for a sumo. And, I mean, I don't think it should be like that, We should,
Where it's what we
it'd be
did.
nice to have a simple one that says that, maybe talks about the wheels you can use.
Well, I mean, that's all in the rules, right? You have a confined space and the stickiness of the rules, the weight limit and all
So
that.
for like in Japanese sumo, you have to be on a steel plate.
Well, maybe it's got to be.
But you know what I'm saying?
Maybe you can't buy a kit, that sort of thing.
Well, I mean,
Don't get too carried away though with rules.
No, maybe a kid.
Well, then you're limiting someone's imagination of what they can put together. I mean, because ultimately, 2 motors on a piece of wood is a sumo.
Yeah, Scott's demonstrated some
So-
pretty simple robots that are pretty.
Again, you can make it as simple or as,
It's
I
not,
don't disagree with Doug, at some point, we don't want some, because I did sumo contest at the Robo Olympics in California a number of years ago and got my ass handed to me by the Taiwan guys. And yeah, you're right. They would take like piano, it wasn't piano wire, but it's real thin shim material, and they would double back tape it and they would lay it down so they'd literally scrape the floor. Yeah, they were, and so I understand what you're saying. And but I don't know, that's not my intent. My intent is just to have a contest that entry-level people can participate in and enjoy. And it's somewhat entertaining.
Okay.
Because of the randomness of it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like when we did can soccer with the 2 robots. There's a lot of entertainment there because, one robot's running into the other.
So I agree with it, entry level. I'm just saying that it could get to a stage that it's not a robot, but it's, yeah.
Deal with that as it comes.
Yeah, I don't, I think
I'm hearing some interest in that.
Okay, here's what
so we're gonna limit it to 5 horsepower.
There's no chainsaws over
No
14.
chainsaw.
I mean, what is mini? Those are like big-
Yeah,
No,
they're like 4x4, 500 milligrams,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay, so let's set the great discussion and let's consider this seriously, Doug, and toss it around a bit.
But here's how I think we ought to do it. Scott, since you kind of have the best idea of what you're thinking of, if you can pick a class, you know, what I mean, if you want mini.
Well, no, I'd just say mini sumo,
Yeah.
because that's more manageable, because the minis or the micros, whatever they call them, you're talking about 1 inch, not a lot you can do in 1 inch.
Yeah, that's,
You know, but 4 inches is still a challenge,
Yeah.
and it's a good size, and the course is only, I think, 33 inches in diameter, so,
Well,
you know, if you go any bigger than that, you know, the next step up, the regular sumos, I think it's like a 6-foot course. So, yeah, I'm thinking just a mini sumo and non-professional.
Well, how about working with Doug to come up with like a more precise definition of, you know.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't try to rewrite mini sumo rules.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I would just say, you know, here's a website to go to the mini sumo rules, and that's the rules.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
But I think I'm more concerned
With having enough time to build
we
them.
we can have at least 2 competitors.
Yeah.
Okay, because I can't compete in it. Because of what goals that I've tried to look for my
Right,
year.
likewise.
And I just don't have any space for
Right.
any sumo. But I know Kareem likes it. He loves it. And
Well, I mean, I'll be half of the
Yeah.
two.
so I mean,
And I got 2 robots, so.
yeah. So I
You
mean,
can play, you can compete with yourself.
Yeah, I can.
No one else.
so you know, okay.
But yeah, I mean, we can take that discussion
We can
offline,
do
but
this. If there's only one competitor, it's Scott, and he's got 3 robots, then he can do a demo. Maybe build some interest in it.
There you go.
Okay. If we get 2 competitors,
So, sorry, what's your name, Natalie? No.
Maybe.
Nitty?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that's like a perfect kind of thing for her, if you can get her sucked into this now. No, seriously. No, seriously. And that's a scale that's
Well,
not
and-
overwhelming.
But that's exactly the
You've
type
got
of
software.
robot builder that this contest is really focused toward,
Right.
because again, it can be as simple or as complex as you want it.
So,
And there's so many different kits out there if you want to go the kit route.
well, I think you'd almost have to. It's the end of January.
Hmm.
And if we're talking about the end of May, it's February, March, April. Okay, that's 4
months.
Depending on,
Seems reasonable,
yeah, well, doable.
doable. If you
But
focus.
if you waste another month, you need to decide you're gonna get into it and get into it. And I do think that probably a kit would probably be a good starting place. And then, you know, you just look at it and say, well, you know what, I wouldn't do it that way. I'd do this and I'd do that. And then you can build from it.
So we could talk about that at Airbnb
Yeah, let's do
and,
that. Let's bring it to Airbnb, but
yeah,
okay, I'll put it on, because I
Great.
gotta do the website for competition. I will put a mini sumo race as part of the competition for that.
It's not a race.
It's not a race.
Fight to the death.
Yeah, the killer you killed.
It's a violent
Yes.
exhibition of.
okay. That's great. Thanks, guys. Great suggestion, Scott. Thank you. And that'll be fun. Come to Airbnb if you want to understand more about it, or keep an eye on the notes through the email channel.
And we can also do a Discord channel. People
That's true. Yes.
Doug, you
Yes.
use Discord, don't you?
Yeah.
You might wanna, and, that's what I'm saying, come in on the Discord and maybe change ideas with people who are doing sumo. You know, like, do you have any kits that you would recommend? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Probably could have something like 2 o'clock this afternoon on Amazon.
Yeah.
Get on right now. Have my robot.
Yeah, I could go that route, that wouldn't like take me away from what I care about. All right, so moving on, I think we've got some questions,
Maybe we
suggestions.
should all be required to have a mini sumo robot. Even if it's a kit.
Qualifications.
$30.
I think we've got some online suggestions,
Yeah.
questions, something.
Yeah, so Tom was saying maybe a walkthrough of each of the machine learning frameworks and platforms, like Edge Impulse, TensorFlow Lite, RoboFlow, and others. And then Pat was thinking about a February or March friendly competition like Tabletop that we could run remotely to foster building robots. So we currently have Roborama and RoboColumbus.
Yeah, tabletop has been done from the original
Yeah.
homebrew robotics
Mhm.
course all the way to our own, which is called Big Tabletop 2 or something like that, where not only do you have to do all of the things, but you have to line all the cans up in the end in a straight line that'll fit under a meter stick.
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
a whole range of that. And I loved to used to do it. That was one of my favorites was tabletop.
Yes. Yeah, who else mentioned
Yeah,
there's something we remote members
The
don't
way
have to.
homebrew actually runs it is actually, I kind of like.
Yeah, theirs is the way it used to be. The very first rule set was you had to push a can off the table. Then you had to push a can into a box.
Yep.
And there was a third one, but I can't. You had to go to the end and come back.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
So you had
actually,
to
they
be
run,
able to go to the end of the table and actually hang something over the table. It could just be a piece of the robot over the table, then come back to the starting edge. Then you had to knock a can off of the table,
Mhm.
and then you had to put a can in a box. And I think the box was just hanging off the edge.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he mentioned. He mentioned something that the remote members don't have to build an arena or travel to compete with. That's one thing Pat mentioned, is something that the remote members don't have to like build an arena or go to travel
No,
to compete with, something they can do in the house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that tabletop was for them.
Yeah.
And the other thing I heard him say was, February or March?
Yeah, like a February, March friendly competition like tabletop. So
Yeah.
that would be similar to your sumo wrestling. Yes.
They have to be more like August.
Probably later on.
Can't we do it in May?
Are we doing?
Should we include it in Roborama in May?
June,
Yeah.
right? Oh,
Well,
man.
we used to. I mean, we used to have.
Yeah, yeah,
tabletop
yeah.
competitions.
What does Tom say to that suggestion?
That was Pat's.
It was
Oh,
Pat.
yeah.
I was thinking of February or March competition that we could do remotely between the two big competitions to sort of foster building some more robots.
Mhm.
Everybody's done with RoboColumbus and looking forward to Roborama in the spring. And it would be something that, could be just a friendly competition and be able to be done remotely. It's like sort of in between the two.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about February next month or March. Let's say something to aim for 2026.
Oh,
Does that make any sort of sense? It sort of adds another competition in between the two.
Are y'all ready to do the one that y'all didn't do?
Exactly. We are willing, but
They did, they're in Columbus, so can
Okay,
y'all
John.
do that?
I don't know if you can see the weather out there.
Yeah. Yes, still several inches of snow outside, so no Columbus for them right now.
Okay. So
I mean-
March, it doesn't, the ice by March?
well,
No.
Pat, what do you think about, adding that to Roborama in May?
I think it is doable, but I don't know. I think I've got my hands full already with two robots, or with trying to do two competitions in May.
Okay.
So I'm working on a 6-can robot still, and the quick trip
Mhm.
there and back. I'm working on that as well. So it's
Focus on Roborama.
yeah.
Yeah,
Trying to put another robot in there. I'd love to do a mini sumo. But it's, I have to talk somebody else into being willing to do a mini sumo. And
He's a
You know, that's one of the things when I first, when the internet came about, was watching mini sumo. So if I have to go somewhere, I'd rather compete against somebody and do something like that. But you know, mini sumo has always been of interest to me.
You know, ship it down here and operate it remotely.
I'm sure there'll be no lag at all in there.
You wanted to add something, Mark?
Well, I was just gonna say, I used to / am a member of the Homebrew Robotics Club as well. They actually run their tabletop a little bit differently. They don't run it as a competition. And so another way that the way they run it is, at every meeting, you can actually earn your certificates for doing the competition. So it's a way to actually engage at every monthly meeting of bringing people in to run. And so you don't have a specific time when you can run it. They do run 3 times a year. They offer special days where they try to encourage everyone to come in and run it as a bigger meeting. But they actually run those competitions in their as part of their show and tell. And so, because all it takes is setting up a table.
Mhm.
And the way they do it is they actually have 3 levels of certificate for each one of their events. And so, like he was saying, the first one is you put your robot on the table and you go to the edge and you don't fall off. If you can do that, that's a certificate. And that's the level 1. The level 2 is you push a can off the table, where they put a can randomly on the table and your robot has to push the can off. So then you do that, you get your certificate for that. For your level 3, it's pushing it into a goal, where the goal is a box, or sometimes it's just 2 posts that they put up, you have to push it in between. But it's not run as a competition at any particular time. It's actually run at every club meeting. Anybody can compete. And the advantage of it being a simple tabletop is that you can do it off of any table. And so there isn't really no setup for it. There's no reason to make it complicated. You can and it encourages people to build and bring things to each and every meeting. That's kind of a show and tell.
I like that.
Nice.
So that's the way the Homebrew Robotics runs those. And they run, for their simple ones like that, they have the tabletop. They also have the floor version, which is a little bit bigger, to where the idea is that you have to get your robot to the corner of a room. Is phase 1, is you have to set your robot down and have it navigate and get to the corner of the room. Phase 2 is you have to get all 4 corners. Phase 4 is you have to get all 4 corners and back to where you started. And so they actually run that in their meetings as well. So it's kind of rather than trying to run it as a specific competition at a specific time, it's actually trying to build up something that you can do at every meeting to encourage people to participate all the time. And they do it in stages to where, if you're just starting out, maybe the first thing you do is trying to get it to just move on the table, but just showing that. And so that's kind of the way they do it.
That's cool.
And so it's just a different approach
That's
than
interesting.
doing the competition, than doing it in a purely competition sense.
And that's something that would also be amenable to showing at IVNV,
Yeah, because everybody has a table, so you can just show a video of your robot on the table. And they basically just give out a paper certificate saying, congratulations, you passed level 1.
Pat, you catching all of this?
Yeah, he said that's a good idea.
Yeah, okay, because I like that idea.
I do
'Cause that
too.
way
I do.
these guys, when the people in Canada are ready to do it, whenever they're ready to do it, they just do it at a Robot Builders Night Virtual.
Yeah.
That would be great. It just allows us to work sort of independently and improve our robot skills instead of trying to rush everything for one time a year.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Pat, you do know that it's on the table, right?
Pardon me?
You know it's on a table, right?
Yes, I figured that's why it's called tabletop.
Right, because if you're not on the table, you know where you are.
Yes.
in pieces.
Succeed or perish is the rule of that.
Okay, all right. I
When that idea didn't work out,
Yeah.
it's no longer.
But I got to say, I also like the aspect of bringing it to a monthly meeting because, like these are in person, and if we like, sometimes we do show and tells, but like actually having robots that attempt to get earn a sort of like an incremental certificate is like, that's a really cool idea for a monthly, something you can tag on. We'll do this after pizza kind of thing.
And we used to do that when we had the warehouse over in Garland. We used to do that with the sumos. When we had a sumo contest on, and people would bring their sumos to the weekly meeting, and we would, compete, and then we could go home and make changes. And,
Yeah. Let's do that. That'd be great. That's a great idea. Thank you for that suggestion, Pat. Pat.
You're welcome.
Okay. So
Now I have another goal to go
next
towards.
step on that-
Yeah, you do.
Next step on that is on the member list on the website, I'll create a field and it will give you your tabletop status.
Certification.
So everybody's starting off as
I like that.
Study my driving license. I got one more suggestion, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing, and that's like having. I know we do a lot of competition stuff, but we don't seem to do much that's like actually collaborative, like together. Like when we get together and build something as a group. Like I know you all did Robbie the Robot back in the day. Like something similar to that again, where we could actually like, sit in the same room and actually like build stuff. That would be nice.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how it'd work or how to arrange it, but yeah.
Well,
Tuesday night meetings that we used to have in person.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Let's talk about Mark's idea, because it sort of dovetails with one of these things. One of these ideas. Do we want to have a robot program for members? And so, part of what Mark's suggesting is, do we want to get together and build,
Collaborate on a build.
Collaborate on a build.
Yeah.
Do we want to have, back in 2016, Doug did a Build More Robots series.
in 18, I think.
Oh, in 18, sorry.
16 was Club Robot.
Oh, okay. And do we want to do that again in some fashion, perhaps partly in person, partly online, perhaps?
Yeah. Another idea.
What kind of project did you have in mind? I mean, update a current robot or build a new one for?
Well, let me throw out an idea, and it's something I've been working on with this sort of like as a, maybe it'll pan out with this is an scalable adult oriented robot that can go from simple to really sophisticated. So I've talked about it at Airbnb, rattled on a bit. The idea is to start off with a simple platform, with like yellow TT motors and wheels and a general driver for robots that can drive them or something like that with an ESP32 that people can get a kit together that can do, first of all, teleop is like the first thing you get a robot to do, right? And then second thing is you get it to do autonomous driving under a microcontroller, driving it, go around in a square or back and forth or whatever. And then the third thing, the same platform should be able to do, if you add more money and more, should be able to run a robot as an appliance, running ROS2 with mapping, SLAM, map out your house and tell it to go from the kitchen to the living room without having to do any programming. Because this stuff is like fiendishly complicated to program, but I think I've been exploring and Pat set of packages that would let you do that. So that could be a sort of like a phased cooperative build, because like, you know, kids get RC toys, right? And teleop is an RC toy. That's really all it is. The next level, the microcontroller telling it how far to go backwards and forwards. You do a little bit of programming for that. So, okay, that's like, for some people, you know, depending on where they are in their skill level of programming, that may be a big jump or it may be a little jump. But then this ROS 2 robot that can do SLAM and navigation is, I'm finding, is turnkey. And it's more about understanding the concepts than it is about programming. So anyway, just throwing that out as a.
Well, let me tell you what they did in Build More Robots course. The first meeting was you went and you learned about every component that was in your robot, because we assumed that you were a complete newbie. And I mean, we even talked about the differences between metric and SAE screws. I mean, every piece that went into the robot, you learned something about it. Then the second one, I believe, was we made some wanderers, and the first one was a moth. I believe it was a moth. That means the robot has two sensors, tells which side has got more light, and it actually acts like a moth, which is pretty interesting because it really does act like a moth.
Goes to the flame.
Yeah, it goes to the flame. And then the next one, I believe, was line following.
Cockroach.
Then wall following.
There's cockroach in there too somewhere, right?
Yeah, cockroach was in I think we
Thinking dog.
That's turning a switch.
So this is a kit platform you're talking about?
Yeah, this was the course we took.
Oh,
We
okay.
we actually taught this course.
Yeah.
Took like 6 sessions, I believe.
Yeah.
And then the next one was going in a straight line. And then the next one after that was 4 squares. And then I think in the end we had a competition. Oh no, yeah, I'm pretty sure. So with 4 squares, you had to have waypoints and you had to be able to drive to waypoints. So, and that was the course.
So again, is this a kit platform? That's what you're talking about?
Yeah, it was a $21 kit from Amazon. And we ended up putting about another $10 worth of better parts on it.
Okay.
And
That sounds like the way to go, because the club robot, boy, you put a ton of effort into that, all the parts and everything. I'm thinking, wow, there's got to be a plethora of kits out there. And even if you were going to, add to it or maybe do some custom parts or whatever.
The problem is if you go the cheapest way, it's what I found was you had to redo some of the parts.
Right. Well, maybe
you just had to redo.
There's choices out there maybe that could be.
So let me have a show of hands. Who would be interested in participating in a build a robot that's sort of like and a series of
It'd be a beginning course.
Yeah, beginning build a robot course.
Anybody interested? All right, we can do it.
David races and
No, that
I
was
guess I
like
could do that if I could convert it to mini sumo to satisfy Scott.
Well, actually, now that you mentioned it,
Is it sort of that kind of?
well, I think at the end, we had, where can you go from this? And I know I have a mini sumo version of this kit. I don't think it would be competitive, but that wasn't the point. The point was to kind of give the idea of how would you build it? What would a sumo do?
Well, I mean, the only reason why Ron would enter a contest is to come in last anyway, so.
A lot first. Go back 20 years.
I was there, you gotta go way back.
Okay, so I noted Mark, and you were Mark also, right?
Yeah.
and Nadine, and I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Kyle, that's right.
Okay.
And
hey,
David
Mark,
Steele as well, for example.
And
what
Eric,
happens when you got two
Paul,
more?
and David Steele, for example.
and
You
David.
have to become, what's your last name?
Yeah, we had that one class before where we built the robot from scratch.
If we had what?
Remember a couple years back, we had
Mark.
where we built a robot from scratch.
Omar,
Or Limey, whichever. I go by Limey as
We
well.
tried to
so-
deploy
You wanna go by
from
Limey?
scratch.
Whichever works.
all right.
Was this a DPRG activity? Oh, that's what Rod, okay, this is like in 2018.
It's like, yeah, this was years ago.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that's really what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. Well, why don't we talk about that at, some more at Airbnb and try and flesh it out? Because it sounds like we've got half a dozen people who, and that's enough for solid interest.
Oh, yeah. Let me ask real quick. Now, we did it, the way we did it before was we actually met, once a week for 6 weeks, I think. Is that a doable thing? Because if you get it much longer than that, what happens is you kind of lose interest.
Yeah.
If you don't do it.
Or else you'll just be having a set series,
Okay.
one series based build robot.
And we also have to open this up to the makerspace.
Huge hydro.
We always do.
Yeah.
Anything like that, it's gotta be open to the makerspace people.
Okay.
So I'm gonna ask, because the last time you were actually building a base for your raw slate, right?
Yeah.
So that could be incorporated
Could
easily
be.
into it.
Could be. We can talk about that at Airbnb. Airbnb is a place where we have really more time, we got like a couple of hours and, pizza's gonna arrive soon. And,
Well, I had just a question.
yeah,
I'm a hack, but I really like SolidWorks. And my seat is like 24 years old or whatever. I use this ancient version. I haven't updated it in 24 years. But anyway, now if you're not making, I think it's over a couple grand and probably something that would involve what you create in SolidWorks. You can get it for $24 a year.
Yeah.
And I think that is awesome because I think that program.
They do have a free version in a makerspace.
Oh, they do, okay.
Yeah.
It's $24 a year, provided I think your license says you're not making over like $2,000, and I'm assuming that things that would involve parts you're making.
They have an entire online program now. The whole program runs in the browser.
Oh, okay.
And you can do all your work on there.
Okay, because, wow, I don't know much, but I've tinkered with some of these other CAD programs, Fusion and whatnot.
$24. The last time I looked at it, it was something like, $2,500.
Oh, no, yeah, well, it's like $4,000.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure about the 24 one, but I know they started a makerspace program. You just go on the website and say you're in a makerspace, list it, and then that's it, you're in.
Oh.
And you get full access to the web program.
Oh.
It's basically the exact same program.
In
as that version.
DMS?
Huh?
The DMS used to have a solid.
No, all you have to do is say you're part of a makerspace if you qualify for the free program.
Cool. So actually, you go to SolidWorks.
Yeah, just go to the SolidWorks website and there's a thing for the makerspace. You click on that and they say, I'm in makerspace. You list it with your info and then, approve it instantly.
I guess my thought is, I was thinking of going to Onshape eventually. So have you used Onshape?
No.
Okay.
But if you use the web program, it works pretty well.
yeah, Unshape is a web program and,
Okay.
I've gotten sufficiently good at it to do reasonable designs of like the robot.
Yeah, but it's just SolidWorks online. So
Yeah. So,
I right now I'm gonna use Design Spark, and it's hard for me to go learn something new because I have all this knowledge on Design Spark.
right.
So, but Onshape does have some really, really nice tools. But so the SolidWorks, but I don't know. SolidWorks, how steep is the curve?
Well, I can't answer that because I've used it for so long, but I'm a hack. I know it has capabilities. So and this is talking 2001. And so I'm kind of interested in playing the newer versions.
Yeah, I mean,
if I had sufficient reason, I'd go pop the $4,000. I mean, the last few years, it'd be probably worth it for me to pop the money for all the parts I had to build, design, whatever. But think that it's pretty intuitive and, you know, whatever they call it, CGS, whatever, constructive solid geometries, adding and subtracting stuff. I don't do much real elaborate stuff, and it's just so handy.
It's intuitive when you've been doing it. It's not so intuitive to get started.
Yeah, I mean, the document's pretty simple.
Yeah, I do remember a little bit of a learning curve doing the little tutorials.
But that's true of any CAD system.
Yeah, so basic shapes, you go in there, you'll just write a 2D thing, you'll extrude it, and then you can pick another surface to build off of, and then you can cut it or add to it.
Yeah.
There we go.
As long as you feel like you can create things and not suffer too much for it.
So like
there's
there's the chassis for Minibot, and then you can populate it with an assembly and you know,
the on-shape.
Yeah, and on-shape. You got the LiDAR and the camera up front and Raspberry Pis and
oh, cool. So you have a library of all those.
Yeah, you just like go and pull these models off of the web for Raspberry Pis and LiDARs and cameras and such, and make what you can't pull off the web, like a battery, you know, whatever, you know, easy blocks. So anyway, just to say, Onshape, in terms of modeling the whole thing, and it's really good to be able to do this because you find out where your holes don't like line up before you go and build the thing, and so I found it to be super powerful to.
Or you find out that your model is incorrect. Yeah.
That hasn't happened to me yet, but yes, you could. Anyway, that was all I wanted to share there.
Cool. So like you're saying, in your assembly, you can drop your LiDAR thing in, and then you can from there create other parts. Like in that assembly, you can say, okay, put these bosses here, that sort of thing. Or how does that?
Well, the flow I use is design the chassis first. So you got to look at some point, you got to do your homework and figure out where the holes in the LiDAR and the holes in the camera are. And sometimes you can get some of that off the spec sheet. Sometimes the spec sheet doesn't have that. Like on the LiDAR, it didn't tell you where the holes were relative to the chassis. So you get out with your vernier calipers and you measure it up, and then you put that down on your sketch and build your chassis, and then you plot the models of the parts on your chassis and look through them and see if the holes look like they line up. So you rotate it all around and you eye up the holes. And
see, in SolidWorks, you take that LiDAR and drop it on another part, and then you go and say, you bring up a sketch of the part, like your chassis, and then you just click the holes, and they are automatically projected onto that chassis from the LiDAR part. So there's a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, and you can do in Onshape, you can like fasten one hole to another. So you can fasten the LiDAR hole to the chassis hole. Same thing, really.
Cool stuff.
It seems like all of these CAD tools have similar similar capabilities.
Yeah, it all works.
Yeah. So I'm hearing a mission to come up with some kind of a build a robot series class, kind of like what Doug did in 2018. Maybe the same, maybe different. Let's talk about it at Airbnb and see what, and everybody is welcome to come to Airbnb. Welcome you to contribute and say what you like and don't like, but let's see if we can make that happen. Other ideas, just while we're waiting for the pizza to.
So, can you apply back to the rules from the ideas from last year?
To the ideas for
Last year's ideas.
Yeah.
So I've been working on a program to, it's a Pac-Man clone that runs all by itself.
A what clone?
Pac-Man.
Uh-huh.
to the ghost and everything, and the characters all, play themselves through that. So I can show that later. That enough interested for the algorithms, how the thing solve the puzzles and how it gets all the dots.
Oh, okay. So this is all done like virtual, like on the screen. Yeah.
On screen.
You're not building actual
No.
Pac-Man and Ghost.
But it can be applied to, actual
Yeah,
robots.
cool. Yeah, kind of like this.
Are you offering that as a TED Talk? Or what?
I could.
That's cool.
With the show and tell, I'll see what I've got so far. If it's worthwhile for a talk.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll have time for a show and tell. Let's get, because we've got a camera panel, smart camera panel. This meeting, so this is a full-in meeting. But yeah, maybe after we're done with the panel.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Yeah, so you wanted to see the list of talks. Do I need to blow it up bigger?
For me, I've just recently had eye surgery, so I'm still working on it.
We got some front row seats there, Doug.
Yeah, sit up front, Doug, don't be shy.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so,
All
all right, I see one thing here that's on there every year, PID loops. Are we finished with PID loops, or does anybody want to do PID loops? No PID loops, okay.
Kyle's interested in PID loops.
I need to learn more about PID.
Okay.
I've used it.
We can do a PID talk. Why don't we do that? Let's schedule a PID talk. Okay, now the next one looks like what we're going to do today. Pixie, MV, and et cetera, camera breakdown.
Yeah, right. So that's today.
Okay, we already talked about the AI recognition detection.
Yeah, right. Well, KiCad, gosh, you offered that on May 7th last year, and we're going to do it. I will make sure that happens. On Shape, we did that.
Yeah. We did JTAG.
Yep.
Smart one.
Yeah, I just crossed that out.
Okay.
Give a man a credit card here.
Yeah. Okay.
And then.
Yeah, Tom mentioned he's interested in the slam without Ross.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that was something I wanted to say. I figured the problem with doing everything in ROS, it's sort of black.
Thank you very much.
It just, if it works, everything's great. If it doesn't work, you don't know where your problem is, but you got the problem,
Debugging.
Yeah, so, yeah.
All these like so on when this making this more.
Oh yeah. So he's still getting pizza. Okay, cool.
Well, we got 5 of them.
I'll grab some.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to pause recording for now. I'll keep the channel open. It'll be online still. It's not recording.
Yeah, we're gonna need this recording to minutes.
Staying from the ice I got from the bottle of vodka.
So yeah, looks like in
Everclear. Yes, I never.